Hi everyone, welcome to the session, a primer on MLOps. Before I get into the session, let me introduce myself. My name is Abhinaya Mahendran. I currently work as a manager for the data science and applied AI team at Next Labs Infosys. I work for the BFSI clients and I build and ship solutions of NLP and NLU systems. So I have given my Twitter handle and LinkedIn handle. So if you want to connect, please feel free to reach out. So let's get into the session's agenda. So I'll be talking about software engineering projects in general, what DevOps is and how it helps the software engineering project lifecycle. I'll also be talking about ML projects, what is unique about ML projects, what are the technical depths in ML projects, and how ML Ops helps in streamlining ML projects. We'll also look at several building blocks and components that are available out there if someone is interested in building their own ML Ops platform. I'll also share some resources where you can find very good materials on ML Ops in general. So let's get into the session. We all might be familiar with traditional software engineering projects. So it starts with the requirement analysis. Once you get the requirement, you start designing the components. Once the designing is done, you basically start coding and develop the features. Features are developed and they are tested by unit testing, integration testing, everything. And once the tested features are completed, it is deployed. After deployment, the software goes into a maintenance phase where you test for bugs or if suppose there are new feature requests for the software, those things are taken care of during the maintenance phase. If you notice now in this software engineering project, there is only one artifact that needs to be maintained throughout, which is basically your code. And data is used only when you are doing the testing. Data never comes into picture when you are actually doing the requirement analysis or design phase. So that's one important aspect that we'll have to remember. And also the quality of the software engineering projects do not degrade over time, meaning the whatever you have developed, the feature remains the same irrespective of what data you feed in. So new requests may come in the future, but the existing software's quality may not go down over time. To maintain the software projects efficiently, DevOps came into picture. So it's a software engineering paradigm where they wanted to develop the softwares faster and also increase the deployment velocity. They also wanted to make sure that the releases that we do are very dependable. We don't want software that is unstable in production. So DevOps will provide two pipelines, which is basically the continuous integration pipeline and the continuous deployment pipeline, where you build and ship the softwares faster. So you do you develop the features, you unit test the features, you do integration test, and after it is ready for deployment, you move the software to the staging phase where it is kind of like a pre-production phase, and then once everything is fine, the actual software is put in production. So this paradigm is like very helpful in maintaining the smoother releases of software. So the same can be leveraged in a machine learning project. So before we get into that, let's look at traditional machine learning project. It is very unique in the sense data comes into picture in the earlier phase of ML lifecycle. Once you understand what the problem is at hand, the first step is to gather data. So data might not be readily available. You will have to acquire the right data to solve your problem. Once you get the right data, you do feature engineering or data engineering to get the right features for the use case at hand. Once you finish your feature engineering phase, you start researching what kind of models can be applied for the given problem statement, and you start experimenting with various models, and you figure out whether a particular model is good or bad based on certain evaluation metric. So this evaluation metric is not just related to your precision recall or accuracy. You should also consider metrics that are very important to business. So you'll understand what KPIs you need to meet, and then accordingly you will choose the best model. So here the best model is not it is not coming at first shot. You will have to experiment a lot and figure out which model is meeting all your criteria. Once that is done, you actually deploy the model in production, and the process does not end there. In a traditional software engineering project, we saw that once the software is deployed, you enter a maintenance phase, but but that doesn't degrade the quality of the software. Instead, you get new requests or new features to be built into the software. But here, once you deploy the model into production, you actually see degradation of the model over time, because the data that you have used for building the model might be completely different from what the model sees in the real world. So you end up monitoring the model also regularly. But that way you will understand when to start the retraining of the entire pipeline, when you have to kind of update your model. All those decisions can be taken only if you have a model monitoring tool present in your ML project. And if you have noticed, there is one important aspect here. Data becomes an integral part of all of the phases. Even after deployment, data comes into picture, because you will be monitoring your model's performance based on what real data is being used by the model. So here we'll have to maintain 3 different artifacts like throughout the entire ML project. One is code, the next one is data, and the last one is model. In software projects, we generally version our code. We don't care much about the data, and there is no model. But in ML projects, we'll have to maintain and version all 3 artifacts throughout the entire life cycle. So this kind of sets the machine learning project apart from traditional software projects. We also have to remember that machine learning projects are very unique, and there are a lot of technical debts that needs to be addressed. Say, for example, before you start acquiring data, you need to set up a mechanism on how exactly are you going to get the data, what kind of tools are you going to use to check the quality of the data. How do you plan to extract the features out of the raw data? What kind of configurations needs to be maintained, like what kind of model hyperparameters you need to set, what kind of infrastructure configuration you need to set. All these things should be taken care before we actually get into the model building or coding part. And if you look at the diagram, ML coding is basically a small part of the entire project. We'll end up spending maybe 20% of the time building model, but remaining 80% of the time goes into managing all other technical debts related to ML project. We'll also have to think about serving infrastructure. So once the model is designed and you have the best model in hand, you will have to figure out what kind of infrastructure do you need to serve the model. You will have to maintain configurations of the dev environment and the production environment separately. Also, you need to have a monitoring piece in the entire life cycle, which will keep monitoring your model in production, because the data that you see in real time might be completely different from the one that is used to build the model. So these are some of the aspects that you actually have to take care in an ML project. So this makes it very kind of complicated than the software engineering projects. So in this scenario, how do we leverage DevOps in a machine learning setting? Maybe we need to do some kind of tweaks which are very specific to machine learning, and you will be still able to leverage the DevOps principles here. So in MLOps, we have we'll have both the machine learning development phase and the operations phase. So if you see here, you have the artifacts, data, model, and code spanning across the different blocks of the entire MLOps pipeline. So we start with model building, where you actually version your code, and you also get the training data. So you will end up versioning the data as well. For a certain piece of code, you might be using version 1 of training data. The next time you may tweak some code in the training part, then you will end up using version 2 of training data. So you will be maintaining versions of the data as well as code. And once you obtain the candidate models, like you do experimentation and you figured out, okay, there are n models for this particular use case, then you end up figuring out which model is better by using your test data. So you obtain metric by getting the predictions of all the candidate models, and you compare and evaluate all the models, and you pick the best model that meets all the criteria, your business criteria, and also your whatever use case you are dealing with, metric specific to that use case is taken as another criteria. So if a model satisfies all such conditions, it will be your best model. Once the best model is selected, you basically productionize the model. After productionizing, you actually don't directly put it in the production environment. There will be like a pre-production environment where you test it with the test data, which is also a subset of your original data, and you get the performance of the model. Once that is also satisfactory, you will end up deploying this model, and this application is exposed to the end user. Once the end user starts using this ML model, there might be performance issues in the production model, because the distribution of the real data might be completely different from what the model was using to build, train on. So because of this reason, you will have to monitor the model in production, and if the performance goes below a certain threshold or based on business objective, you will have to kind of do the entire pipeline again. So you will have to take the production data and use it for retraining the existing model. So this will basically update the current production model, and the same process repeats. So you will end up doing the same phases till you reach the final best model, which is ready for production. So this basically gives an overview of how ML Ops works. Now we'll look at some important principles that needs to be in place in an MLOps platform. So the platform should provide auditability mechanism. So you should be able to version and track all the artifacts that are related to ML projects, which are basically your data, your model, your code. You should have a feature store where you can store your feature engineering metadata. You should have a code artifact registry where you will version your code. You should also have model registry where you will store your model artifact. So all this has to be provided by the platform. So this aspect is very important, because this will also help in easy collaboration. So people will be able to use different versions of the data and the model to start working on their part of code. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is reproducibility. So if several people are working on a say similar project or on the same project, they should be able to reproduce the experiments without much complexity. So they should be able to run the already existing experiments. They should be able to set up the environment easily. They should be able to leverage what data processing and feature engineering pipelines were used in the past. All those things should be readily available for anyone. So that that feature should also be present in the MLOps platform. The next part is testing. So when it comes to testing does not get confined to unit testing, integration, and functionality testing. Unlike software engineering projects, we also need to think about other kind of testing in ML project setting, which is metric level testing. You will have to do. You will have to figure out if it is meeting the KPI. You can check for explainability. Is there any bias in the model? Is the model fair? So all those kind of testing should be provided by the MLOps platform. So this becomes another important aspect that MLOps platform should provide. The next thing is automation. So wherever possible, the platform should be able to automate the pipelines. For example, the data ingestion pipeline or the data engineering pipeline, where you end up getting the features, the workflow schedulers. Like if suppose you want to run the model predictions at a certain time of the day every day, then you should be able to schedule those workflows automatically. Also the training and retraining pipeline. So here if you see, we talked about monitoring model. So when suppose the model's performance is going down in production, there should be a way to kind of trigger the training and retraining pipeline. So this should also be automated by the platform. AutoML can also be part of MLOps platform, which is basically like a no code component where you can pass in your data, and based on the data that is passed, several models will be run and the best model will be provided to you. This helps in like faster prototyping. So these are some of the components that should be available in any MLOps platform. Next, we'll see about deployment. So in deployment, you should be able to use containerization. You should be able to leverage the REST APIs. All these pieces should be present in the MLOps platform itself. So it should also provide you the continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline. You should also have the option to deploy it on cloud or on premise. So all these options should be available in the MLOps platform. The next important one is governance or monitoring, because this is very essential when it comes to machine learning projects. So it's unlike software projects, the quality of the ML project degrades. So there will be data drift or model drift. So when the model is trained on a certain distribution of data, the data that it sees in real world might be completely different from what it was trained on. So in that case, you will have to decide whether you will have to retrain the entire model or update the model. So that kind of mechanism should also be present in the MLOps platform. There should also be a provision to monitor your infrastructure or resources. I think this is anyway readily available in many cloud service providers. But this data drift and model drift is a very specific piece that is very unique to ML Ops platform. So that has to be present. So these are some of the basic components or principles that has to be present in the MLOps platform. So MLOps platform aims at providing continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous training, and continuous monitoring. So when you see, we always have two kind of environments when we deal with an ML project. One is a development environment where you basically get the data either from the feature store or from raw source. You do the data analysis, you conduct experiments, you figure out what is the best model, then you version your code, you build, you test and deploy the pipeline, and you have a data engineering phase where you basically select the right features. Then you build your model, you store all your metadata about the model and the data in a metadata store. You have a model registry where all the experimented model will be registered, out of whichever is the best model based on the right metric will be chosen for serving. Once the model is served, it is basically monitored all the time. Once the monitoring module figures out that the model performance has gone down, there will be a trigger which will kind of restart the entire process. So again, it will go to the retraining part of the model where you again retrain it on the real-time data, and the entire process repeats. So all this has to be done in an iterative, incremental way, and it is a continuous process. So this forms the base of the MLOps platform. For for someone who is interested in building their own MLOps platform, or if someone wants to understand what kind of components are out there that you can leverage readily, so these are some of the blocks that needs to be in the MLOps platform, and the open source frameworks are also mentioned along with the blocks. So first, let's see about the source control. So we all might be using one or other form of version control. So we might be using Git or GitLab or SVN. So it can be leveraged here as well. So you can put this as a component in your MLOps platform. The next part is test and build services, which can be, provided by GitHub Actions or like any other framework like Jenkins, CI/CD pipeline kind of frameworks are out there. So you can leverage those frameworks here. For deployment, you have several options. This is not an exhaustive list. One or two I have provided only like few options here, but there are many. Example for deployment services, you can check out frameworks like TensorFlow Serving or Continuous Machine Learning. So these are some of the deployment services. CML can also be integrated with GitHub Actions. So there is connection between the blocks as well. For model registry, you can check out MLflow or weights and biases, and there are even more. So where you can track your experiments, you can log all your metric, all the artifacts that you would wish to log, everything can be logged, and you can compare the experiments, compare the metric, and figure out which model is best, and you can even move the model to deployment phase. So all that can be done through MLflow, weights and biases, etc. For feature store, you can look at Feast, so where you kind of build a centralized repository for features that can be leveraged across several use cases that are using the same data. So that is another component that needs to be present in your MLOps platform. And ML metadata store, where you use DVC, where you can version your data along with your code and model. So this helps in figuring out what data is basically used, what version of data is used for what version of model building. So this makes that job easier. Maintaining all those information will become easy through DVC. And the next one is ML pipeline orchestrator. So you need to kind of automate several pipelines. So you can look at frameworks like Airflow, Lugi, or any other frameworks, and then you can orchestrate all your pipelines through such frameworks. So these are all the basic building blocks that needs to be present in the MLOps platform. So these are all the links for the components that I've mentioned in the previous slide. So you can check out the components individually to understand the functionalities. And the last part is the resources. So these are some of the resources that you can refer to understand MLOps as a platform or a field in general. Like they talk about all these resources talk about basic MLOps principles, what kind of frameworks are out there, what kind of tools are out there, how can we design better systems that can handle large scale machine learning. So all such things are available in these resources. So you can, kind of check out which can, help you in understanding the MLOps field as such. So these are some of the useful resources. And that takes me to the end of the presentation. So thank you so much for attending this session, and I'm glad that I got an opportunity to talk to all of you on International Women's Day. Happy Women's Day to one and all of you. Thank you so much.